Hello, and welcome to my Shulker Box Categorizer design. I wanted to come up with something after designing my cyclical variable sorter, which is this thing over to the right shown off in my last video for it. It's modified a little bit because ever since I designed that, I wanted to put something connected to it for storage, but I had to come up with a way uh, to detect items in a shulker box and sort it via a categorizer. I like categorizers. I'm not a big fan of giant storage halls. For some people, you need that because the amount of items you collect. Usually, when I play, I don't collect as many items, so I don't need an entire column or dedicated to one single item. Only a few items might be like that, but once you get into shulker boxes, much less likely. I will never get 3 double chests worth of a single item filled with shulker boxes. So it might not be your playstyle, but for me, it works perfectly. Uh, and the way this works is you can take anything that will sort your shulker boxes. Like I said, I showed this off in the last one, but instead of having an output for the completed boxes, it automatically goes to the input for the storage system. And I added an input, so if you already have pre-sorted boxes, for instance, you go out, farm a bunch of sand or something, and you just want to put the box of sand in your sorter, or you do some kind of project, you take out a bunch of boxes and you don't put anything else in it, you can just toss it back in the system. That way you don't have to run it through your actual sorter. It can just go right to the storage. So I'm going to take a box here. I'll toss this in the system just to show you rough speed of how long it takes to get to that column. I think it'll probably be like maybe 14-16 seconds based on when it actually gets into the first section there. But these levers to the side here, what they are is the ability to send all your partial boxes for this section back through the sorter, because the sorter itself acts as a merger. Here's the box. It acts as a merger. So it's an inefficient merger, I'll admit that. There are better mergers out there, but since it's already being used as a sorter, you can also send it through as a merger. And so we have a bunch of partial boxes in here. All the partial boxes will go in the bottom chest, and full boxes will go in the top 2 chests. So if you had any full boxes, you'd be able to they would be put in there automatically. So to demonstrate that, I'm going to turn that on, and you'll see all the partial boxes draining out. And as I said, they will flow to the input of the sorter, and they will run through and they will merge all your boxes. That off. Okay, we went over that, and everything else is still the same from the sorter turned on. So if we go out here, talk about the design for it. So the output of the completed boxes will flow up through here, which will also connect to the flow for the boxes you manually put in there. And they come up here, they activate it, a box is dispensed, the minecart will grab a single item before it's broken. And I added the detection for the box to determine if it's a max signal box. If it's a max signal box, there's some redstone back here that will save the data, so to speak, to let you know like this box that you're currently sorting for this section is a max signal or it's not. And if it's a max signal, it will lock the hoppers on the bottom. And so that if it is in this column, it'll drop into one of the top 2 chests. It'll pre-fill the middle chest for what I have set up here. But certain conditions will happen. So for instance, if you get a max signal from this box, but the box does not find its location in these columns, it will, upon reset, where the minecart gets to the end and it resets this piston right here, based on whether or not detected any items in this section, will allow the redstone signal to move this way. And if you had a max signal, which means this dropper would be activated, and you would have a signal here, and this block would be up, allowing the signal to move on to the next section. And then this will essentially save, because of the timings and whatnot, this will save the incoming box's status, so to speak, whether it's full or not, waiting for the cart to start the next cycle. That way this can reset and you still know what this incoming shulker box is going to be. And it just rinse and repeat down the line to do that. And I had to mess with timings and signal extension so that it would get to the right chest and whatnot. So so the minecart comes through. It, based on whether it grabs an index item from the chest, it'll either it'll lock this hopper up right here, which will send the item to the next section. Or if that was locked up, this will be unlocked. And that allows the item to drop into the dispensed shulker box, which is on the other side of that hopper. So the item would come in here, goes into the box, and then it drops into the water, and then it goes into the appropriate column. If none of the columns are unlocked, it flows all the way to this hopper, and then it goes up the dropper elevator into the next section. And since you would, if it would move on to the next section, that means you dropped an item off through here. The next minecart would then grab that item, look for it in this section, and then once again it comes up here, and if it's in this section, it would drop the item off. And they all have these detector rails to activate the piston to break the shulker box that's in there. And then it just goes down, and I had to include a bend because I don't like having a gigantic wall of, depending on how many you have, right? But once you get so many, there is an issue with the distance of the redstone breaking. You're too far away, and so usually I try and keep mine within a certain area. That way you don't have to be worried about going out of range of like your sorter and breaking it or whatnot. And same for if you're over by the sorter, you don't want your last columns to have issues if you're 50 columns deep or something. So and then on the last section it's a little different, because then you just have the overflow. What if nothing is found here? It goes into the overflow. And then below is just setting up where it locks the hoppers below the chest, the partial chest, until you flip the lever, and then a clock starts and allows the hoppers to drain into the droppers, and those shoot to the line and go over to the input there. And I think that's pretty much it. We're just going to wait for the boxes here to finish. I'll be back with that when that is done. And the merging process has finished, and we're left with a single box, and each one with 63 items in it, and a full box in the top there. And of course, empty boxes get reused back into the system automatically, because we did probably saved 7 boxes per column there just now. So, all right, that's it for my showcase.